Hey, good to see all you fine folks today. So, remember a couple of months ago where I uploaded a writing vlog? And the way I was talking about it in the vlog implies that I meant to do more of those. And then I didn't do more. Well, we're gonna do more today. That's the plan. We're gonna do that today. We're gonna rectify that and we're gonna do it today again. I'm gonna sit here and write, and I'm gonna talk to you about kind of stuff I'm working on and my thoughts on storytelling, I guess. Anyways, so today I thought we would work on what is turning out to be my epic, my magnum opus, the greatest piece of fiction I think I will ever write, and maybe anybody could ever write. It's called
Knuckles buys aluminum siding. Let us begin with the creation of great literature. Knuckles was in need of new aluminum siding, particularly for his shed. His shed had lately become leaky. God, leaky. I meant to say leaky, thus damaging his riding mower that was stored in said shed. Knuckles had finally made a decision after weeks of talking it over with loved ones and family that he would finally head down to Home Depot and buy some aluminum siding. Aluminum siding. It was a perilous trek to Home Depot. There was a crash that occurred a mile out between his house and the Home Depot, hardening traffic for an hour, hour and a half. Although Knuckles didn't mind, he had bought recently a well-reviewed book about World War II history and had been thoroughly enjoying listening to it. But finally, the traffic let out, and Knuckles made it to the Home Depot. It was a wonderland, a cornucopia of tools and aluminum siding Knuckles could never imagine. When he found his precious aluminum siding, his mind raced in excitement. All the different versions, all the different textures. What would he buy? Knuckles considered him knowledgeable self about home improvement, but he was no expert. No, he needed professional help, and thus he began to track down a Home Depot employee. Hard to find at times. Home Depot famously keeps low amounts of employees on the floor at all times, and the floor is quite large. It took him a minute, but finally he found a young man in an orange apron. He cleared his throat and asked, "Can I get some help?" The young man was busy playing on his phone, but immediately put it down, smiled, and walked with Knuckles to the aluminum siding aisle. There they had an intense discussion on what best fit Knuckles' needs. Knuckles eventually found the proper sheet of aluminum siding, drove home, and promptly installed it on his shed, thus saving his riding mower from any rain damage that it may receive. All in all, Knuckles found it to be a very productive day. Knuckles would go to sleep and would die in his sleep. It was a peaceful death. No one could complain. He was mourned by family and friends. Okay, yeah. I think this is it. I don't think I could write anything better than this. Like, this is everything I wanted to achieve in fiction. Oh, darn it. Well, I guess I could theoretically retire. Nobody would be upset at me. But if we're gonna work on other things, let's work on the thing I've been working on for about a year. It's actually been exactly a year because I started this project. This is not the full project, by the way. This is just only part of it. Project around the end of January, so we're coming up on a year of working on this. Now, to be fair, was I actively working on this throughout the year? No, there are many times where I took a lot of breaks. But lately, I have been quite active. If people don't know, I don't know why people wouldn't know. The project I'm currently working on is about an orc. Yes, a fantasy orc becoming a pro wrestler. And it's not like an orc gets transported into our world and becomes a pro wrestler. No. That would be easy. And I didn't pick the easy option. I picked a much harder option of creating a whole world, fantasy world where an orc is wrestling. So that's what I decided to do with my time. I think I like how it's turning out. It's just one of those things where it's like when I explain it to cool people like you watching it right now, I assume they immediately go, "Oh, that's a neat idea." Who knows if I pull it off, but it's a neat idea. But when I explain it to anybody else, even what an orc is, I sometimes I have to explain what an orc is, and that just takes too long. Anyways, so recently, if you're curious, and I guess you are, I had a friend look over this, and not this particular passage, but like the first few chapters I initially had written. And I got some okay notes, but what I found was, so the character is kind of from a very small exclusionary village that doesn't particularly like leaving their village. And what I had found was that I kind of didn't describe life in her village all that well, which is bad. It's not good, because it's good to have an understanding of where your character came from, why the world they're experiencing is so different. And I guess I was just lazy. In writing that, because I was like, oh, I don't really have an idea for how the village looks. So what if I just don't do that part, but imply it a lot, weakening the story? I always feel like if you're ever feeling lazy about writing a particular section, like don't write it then, because you just whatever you do, you're just not going to write it good. But like make a note of that, because that's, you know for a fact that that's the thing you're going to actually have to pay a lot of attention to, because that's probably a really important part. That's a hint. Fortunately, I know how this part goes. I like that. Sometimes you. Okay. You know, the thing about the Knuckles bit is I actually had to do that twice, because I accidentally forgot to record myself when I wrote it the first time. And what's funny is I actually think the second recording was a lot stronger, because I knew generally more what I was going to do. So it's like it was going to be a total blow off, and it's like, oh yeah, okay, like let's actually try and make it, which is dumb. Okay. The Longhouse felt never ending. Luna knew from books. She was reading that there may be bigger places. I never call it, I mean, occasionally I call it the world, but I usually default to calling it the 9 continents, this world I'm creating. No, it's bigger, like size-wise, grammarly. Size-wise! Not in notes of importance culturally, is what I mean. Even though this is culturally relevant to her and her people. But I mean this in terms of physical locations. Okay, gotta be careful. I'm adopting too much habits I've been doing, apparently. What's nice is I cut those long pauses out. Unless you're the last video I did where I accidentally uploaded the unedited version. That felt so stupid. I didn't realize that till like later. I had spent all this time working on an edited version, and I just upload the unedited version. Okay, let's work this out. So she's entering a long. She's entering a long hall, and it's big. It's a general note I have for it, and it's kind of like a religiously significant place. I don't have any other ideas for what this looks like. I could go cliche, and it's like, I don't know, maybe something a little bit more fun. Because it's like, oh, it could just be a wooden thing. But let's do something more fun. Let's do something more fun. Because I have a more fun idea. Am I going to meet? Ooh, boy. I have a thing about holes. Tripto, something. It's fear of holes. I don't think I can do that. I don't think I can do that idea. Yes, I have a fear of holes. I can't explain it. They scare me. Scientists theorize that it is a leftover evolutionary response, you know, from hunter-gatherer society, in that if you saw a bunch of holes cobbled together, it was probably like a dangerous predator. It was like, it'd be poisonous. So it's like, you know, the caveman mind is going like, thing is trying to kill me, but thing is on the internet and it doesn't exist. But yet, there's a part of your brain that is still running in the wilds away from mammoths and stuff, and hunting and foraging. And there's another part of you that says, I'm exhausted from even thinking about that. I just want to lie down and watch some TV. If you're like most people my age, it's The Office, but for me, it's The Simpsons. Okay. You know, we'll skip this description because I don't have ideas for it right now. You know, my advice is if you're ever kind of stuck, just skip it. Just skip it and come back later. I always put those little lines there to just remind myself that I need to go back. Because I have ideas for the next little part, but I don't have ideas for this. Unlike my really smart, really genius aluminum siding story for Knuckles, which was perfect the second it was produced, this has been a little bit more of a struggle. So, I have this ancient orc king called the Boar Wolf. And so I was trying to like emulate old titles, because, you know, like a lot of these old names are like the Red Wolf, the Bear Wolf, the Sea Wolf. I guess that's a Jack London book, I believe. But, you know, they would have like animal names, but he was like the Arnulf is Strong Wolf, and I don't like a lot of the old Saxon kings. Like their names can like literally translate into like a lot of them are like Stone Wolf or stuff like that. And I debated whether I would use like those sorts of names, and I've decided that instead I'm gonna go for like translation of everything. Like it's gonna be translated into pure English when I can. And the reason for that is I wanted it to feel like you're actually hearing them talk, not to randomly untranslate certain words. That always bugs me in like period pieces where they have the character speaking English, but like they wouldn't be. I don't mind when that is. I don't mind that convention. I really don't. I don't mind like in Chernobyl when they have the characters speak English. It's like I don't mind that because I know this is like dramatic convenience just to make sure that like it's just dramatic so that like we as an audience can understand it. And it's like I don't mind that they're just speaking English accents. It's like, you know, like there's a criticism, well, why don't they do Russian accents? Do you really want an entire group of actors to do comedy Russian accents? Because they won't be able to do it convincingly. Now, should have maybe the show been in Russian? That's a different question. But I don't mind those conventions. It's like what is it, the terrible Ridley Scott movie where they had all the characters speaking in fake Italian accents. Just have them speak in their normal accents. It's like it's already ridiculous that like characters from Italy are speaking English. Like we already understand that implicitly that they would not be speaking English. So have them just speak in their natural accents. It doesn't make it more convincing for them to speak in bad comedy accents, you know? At least that's my opinion on that. Anyways, so that's why I'm calling him the Boar Wolf, because that's what they mean when they're referring to the character. Slowly moving around each other and singing in low-pitched hums, chanting low-pitched hums. Luna's familiarity with the old language was somewhat weak, and it didn't help that the warlords were speaking in a much more archaic, older form of the language. You might be asking yourself, why do isolated orcs? Why can they speak common languages? I have a reason for that. I've already thought of this. I know why they do. It's because they often take jobs as mercenaries in foreign armies. In the main kingdom's armies, so they actually have a pretty decent grasp on different languages, which is nice because I'm deciding to go against using a common world language, which might bite me at some point. I might have to figure out a way around it, but for now, I'm sticking to my guns about this, and I might chicken out and not do that later. I don't know. But for now, I am. For now, I might chicken out on that. I might also just make it not as difficult to learn languages. Oh, glorious one. If you're curious, by the way, how I'm doing this, so that axis is, so it is when. If you're on, I have Windows. If you're on Windows, what you do is you hit your Windows button and your H key at the same time, and it turns on voice to text. It's very useful. I especially got through my job at Pocket using this pretty prominently. Maybe that explains some of the weird passages. Anyways, did you see that? Did you see that? He almost rose up. Really good. I think we accomplished a lot today. Kennels, yeah. Boy, did I spell knees. Wow, I am really bad at spelling knees. Not basic reason was the gist. Gist. Do you not like that? Stop, Grammarly, your hatred of casual expressions. I demand you accept colloquial language as part of your dictionary of things and stop punishing me for using it. Okay, thank you. Well, people like this? I don't know. People probably won't watch this. This is for me. I have to come up with names now. I hate coming up with names. Breathhead. I've got a Bloom County book here. I'm just gonna name him. After that. I'm really good at coming up with names. Probably deserves more credit, but it made sense. He was the youngest member of the War Council. At 75 years young. It was actually quite a bit of an excitement when he first got appointed. He was still nicknamed the Kid by the rest of the council, and they found him so enlightening. They found his youthful enthusiasm. I shall stay here and pray. He almost rose. Breathe. It actually created quite a stir amongst the orcs of the Northern Clan. Why would it create a stir? Okay, so in canon, in my head, they've been in the king. Mercia is the name of it. So in my head, Mercia is the name of the kingdom. That may change. I don't know. That was just a temporary name that is slowly becoming more permanent. But they're in the kingdom of Mercia, and they've been here for about 200 years. So I'm trying to work out markets. This could work. As he was one of the first orcs who did not directly serve with the Boar Wolf. Let's do this. Orcs. Who was born after the death of the Boar Wolf. No, not Beowulf. Boar Wolf. You had it right. Okay, so... Okay, they've been here for 200 years. Let's say the Boar Wolf lived. Yeah, he would have been born. Yeah, this works. He theoretically... I feel people are going to get confused by that name. He theoretically... Yep, that works. The rest of them are in their 90s. That means the rest of them are like 100 years old. Yeah, I can see it. I said, this is totally screw up my timeline. This might screw up a thing that happens later in the story. So I'm nervous. Thank you. Thank you for explaining that man means man. I wouldn't have picked that up. I wouldn't have picked that up. That is something I wouldn't have figured out. Thank you for explaining that to me. Okay. I'm using Frankish just because it's a little bit... I don't want to use Norse. I want it to feel a little bit different. I feel like this is going to really fuck up my timeline. Because it's like, my head, they've been there for 200 years. It doesn't totally. I could even make them 100 just to screw anything up, I guess. If this all goes to plan, I will follow. If this all goes to plan, the series will follow her from this moment until her death, which will hopefully be decades after my own. I have left very explicit plans for what the future will be. Actually, because I haven't finished the first book yet, and I don't know if people will like this one. Well, let's see. But this is a chance for a little bit of character world building. He's one of the first something. He's one of the first... How about this? Council to be born outside of the clan. His parents' descendants actually being from the Eastern Orc clan, and not arriving in the Northern clan until he was in his 20s. This always threw Luna through a hoop. Not too dissimilar. It amazed Luna that somebody around her age would willingly enter the Northern clan. There we go. He did. Yes, she was old. And nobody was quite certain how old she really was. Ask any young orc. Even some of the elderly orcs had memories of her still being old. I don't know if it's no matter what happens, Luna knew one thing for certain. She was not going to get up off the floor on her own. She should probably be
I have no plans for these characters, by the way. They're gonna disappear and reappear. I have possibly a dramatic twist I might do at some point with them, but that would not be for a few books. Probably be more accurately once I'm doing it. Like Una, who at the age of 90 was in the exact middle of the Orc Council. Decent at numbers and possessing an almost supernatural need to write everything down, he often took lead on many government projects. How long have I been on? I've been doing this for about an hour. This will not be an hour long, but this will be significantly condensed when you see it. But I will not forget that this time. Oh, I can't believe I did that. That was so dumb of me. Will people assume that literally supernatural? Probably, right? You probably have to account for that. It's a little bit of a... No, don't do that. No, why did you do that? Why? Yeah, I say a lot. It's a little bit of an issue with when you're doing a fantasy story, describing things, because when you're writing a normal story, like a normal set in the real with real world people, you can describe something supernaturally and people know that you just mean like it feels out of this world. But when you say something is supernatural in a fantasy story, it's like, well, do you mean that literally? Because that's a literal thing we can do. And it is a little thing we can do. I haven't fully worked out the magic system yet. In fact, I do get a little anxious introducing magic into stories because that is a very unpredictable element, and you have to spend a lot of time making sure that all works, or it could be bad. At least that is what I think you should do. But I've heard other people debate against that, and it's not wrong. But I do have I am often anxious about introducing magic into things without sitting down and really thinking about it through, because it's like, not to quote Brandon Sanderson, but he does have a point where it's like, if you introduce magic, you don't want it to be able to just solve all the problems. That's not fun. Having magic is fun. It's just inherently a fun idea to be able to shoot fire out of your hands, but you don't want them to be able to shoot infinite fire all the time. That's bad, at least in my opinion. You don't want a character so overpowered that they can achieve everything with just a snap of their hands. At least to me. I do know there is some debate about that as of late, but this is my story and we're going to do it the way I want to do it. So I'm not keeping checking. I said I was going an hour. I've actually gone a little bit longer than an hour, but I said I'm going to go an hour. Because there was that wasted first 20 minutes I did of this where I wasn't recording anything, and that really frustrated me. To a high degree. I have to say, to a high degree. No. Stop this. You don't know what I'm saying. Really. So that's about an hour. I'm going to do more off stream. No, I'm not. This isn't a stream. Right. Nobody's seeing this but me. This is me talking to my best friend, the camera. I love you, camera. You're my best friend in the whole world. Am I procrastinating, trying to get this up to the amount of time I want it to be? Maybe a little bit. Am I a little bit out of ideas? A little bit is that as well. What other things could have Knuckles bought at the Home Depot? Caulk? Everybody needs some good caulk. That's what everybody needs. It's just a little bit of good caulk. Nails? Yeah, could have used some nails. I hope he got to finish his World War II book. I don't know. Okay, I'm it here. Thanks to anybody who's sat by and watched this. I do enjoy making these. I hope I make more later, but I'm going to take a break now.